One of the most vital aspects of having a successful business is being able to document the processes that you use to thrive and grow. If you document what you're doing, it's really easy to identify where there are opportunities to improve, and you get that uniform delivery because a process can be duplicated again and again and again. In fact, many companies, it turns out that their greatest asset is their processes. So it's very important to take advantage of what you're doing and find a way to document what you're doing so that you can actually track your processes on an ongoing basis. Now, there are some new accelerated learning techniques that can be applied to documenting your own processes, and it's just 4 simple steps. Now, I want to use an example because it's always great when you can start with an existing process. So one of the examples I like to use is where you're writing a blog post and you're preparing to write the post. So there are things that you do ahead of time, research that you do, and decisions that you make before you ever start writing the post. So the process you go through to prepare to write a blog post is, first, you identify a hot, trending topic. Second, you identify some strong keywords that you want to use throughout the article. Third, you decide what type of blog post you want to create. There are 20 different kinds of blog posts, and each one serves a different objective. So depending upon what you're trying to accomplish through your blog post and what your topic is, that will really help you decide what kind of blog post you want to write. Fourth, you want to map out where you want to deliver the content, because there may be some specific information you want to get across in your article, and if there's 3 points, which one's first, second, and third? So that's what I mean by mapping out the content. Fifth, identify examples that you can link to in your post, because links are incredibly powerful at delivering a better search engine result and also getting you link backs, very helpful to your post. And then, of course, you need to find images, videos, graphics, infographics, all different kinds of content that enhances the value of the words on the page. So all of those different things are the process that we're going to use as our example for this particular conversation. So you want to take your process that you've gotten written out, maybe it's a checklist, and you want to turn this into a really, really powerful process that becomes a huge resource for your company. It's actually intellectual property that adds value to your bottom line. So here's a really cool technique that you can use. First, create a 5 to 6 minute video on each one of those steps in your process. So step 1 would be how to identify a hot trending topic for your blog post. So you're going to do a quick 5 to 6 minute video. The second thing you're going to do is come up with a really simple quiz. It's just 5 to 10 questions. They're true or false or multiple choice. And what that does is when someone who's never written a blog post watches this 5-minute video and then they take this little quiz, it's a simple little quiz, but what it does is it gets their brain to reconnect with the content in a deeper way. It helps the viewer really review what they just learned and absorb it more deeply, more rapidly into long-term memory. And that's really, really important. Now, the third step is to create a very simple exercise that pertains to the content that was covered in that video. And that way, the viewer can immediately apply what they just learned. So you might have your viewers who are learning how to write a blog post start by using Google Trends to identify some topics that are of high interest to your specific audience. That's just one example. But you give them an exercise and be able to get a result right away. Now, the fourth step is to provide coaching. A process doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's really, really powerful when you don't just have a step-by-step checklist to follow. You've got the audio, the video, the exercises, the quiz, and you've got some constructive feedback. And that's the critical aspect of coaching. What you want to do is ask the viewer why they did what they did. Why did you take this approach with Google Trends? Now, the viewer will tell you if they had a problem. And they'll tell you what the problem really is when you're using why questions. What questions are often very subjective. That's the problem. You know, it's somebody's having a bad day or they're confused or whatever. The what questions can often be misleading and not give you the insight you need on how to improve your process. But why questions inspire that viewer, the participant, to really question how well the process worked. Why did they do what they did in that order? Why did they approach it the way they did? Is there a better approach? Do they need additional guidance? You know, it gives you feedback that you can use to refine and enhance your processes and educate your team at the same time. So please take the time to document your processes. It's really, really valuable for your company valuation and for your company expansion. 4 simple steps. Take any process you have, make a short video on just one step, and create a very simple quiz of 5 to 10 questions associated with that specific video. Also create a simple exercise that someone can use to apply the information they just learned in the video. And 4th, have coaching be a part of it. So you're touching base with them at the end of each step. So they've gone through watching the video, doing the quiz, doing the exercise, and then there's coaching, and you immediately get insight into whether they're understanding this process clearly and they can apply it and truly own it, or you develop opportunities to refine your process, make improvements. You'll discover ways to increase the impact that your business has and be far more productive.